Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Lon here. Today I'm flying solo and excited to be talking to you about how I've lost 30 pounds traveling across Southeast Asia. Um, for those who've been following the channel or know us, we left the United States back in October of 2024 because we have family in Malaysia. So we decided to travel first over to Kuala Lumpur and have visited different countries over here in Southeast Asia. So, being that it's the first time for me being over in this region, the first thing we're going to do is tourist attractions. So we're going to be, walking to historical monuments, skyscrapers, botanical gardens. A lot of these places have very popular and very nice night markets that you can find places to eat and bargain shop and do all those sorts of things. And being so close to the equator, if you don't know, it's about 90 degrees every day here in Southeast Asia. It's 12 months of the year. Some days a little more humid than others. And shopping malls are a very big thing. A shopping mall here would be more like a whole block over in the U.S. where you have your restaurant, obviously your retail shops, but your grocery stores, your movie cinemas, your play areas for kids. Just about anything you can do indoors at a mall. All of the malls are like that. Some bigger and nicer than others, but they're all air conditioned and you can spend all day, get lost in a mall. So obviously that's going to be a lot of walking around. Uh, Most of the times we're staying using our hotel points. So if we want to go to a local pharmacy, local convenience store, if there's a grocery store within walking distance, we'll go to that. So there's a lot of walking around, and walking number one is just going to get you more fit. Walking to coffee shops, massage shops, all those certain places. So that's number one is just the amount of walking that you're going to do. The second part of it is the type of transportation that you may take over here in Southeast Asia. We don't own a car. We either stay in a hotel or Airbnb. So we're reliant on the sky trains, monorails, subways, even buses around here. And many of these places and malls and sky trains, you will either have to take uh, climb stairs or escalators. They do have elevators for all those. There's more going up and down, up and down. So you're getting your steps and your stairs in as well. And a lot of times I will choose to take the stairs versus the elevator for sure. Sometimes when you go into the subway or sky train, like in Thailand, you might get the escalator going up, but then you have to take the stairs coming down. Many times the escalators are out of service, so you might be walking down them anyway. But just getting around without a car, you're obviously doing more walking, and more walking makes you a more active, healthier lifestyle. The third thing that I've done since being over here, now that I have a little bit more time on my hands, although we do try to stay busy, um, is is fitness. I go to the gym at least 3 times a week. Now, as I said before, anytime that we look for, well, just about every hotel is going to have a gym and/or swimming pool. So we look for hotels that will have that. That's where we book our points. Usually with the Airbnb, it's easy like at a condo complex or a full service apartment area that it's going to have at least a gym and/or a pool. So I try to keep fitness in mind when we're booking our reservations. Most of these places are going to have your standard assembly of your Nautilus machines. So some have more than others, but just about every single one has free weights. And with a bench and free weights, you can do just about anything. Um, so you have your cardio machines, your stairmasters. Sorry, not stairmasters, but your elliptical machines, your treadmills, your incumbent or stationary bicycles. I'm hitting the gym at least 3 times a week. I try, I'm not a gym rat by any means. Anybody can do this. But I try to save the other 4 days a week for exploring the new areas. Teresa and I like to go, obviously explore our first time being in different places. I want to keep that available to us. But if I have a half day, maybe on the fourth day, I might just go there and do some cardio work or something like that. Um, but um, but as I've lost this weight, I've tried to keep tone, and it's been very beneficial to me. Um, Being that we're on a 2 year sabbatical slash early retirement, still trying to figure that out. We do try to stay busy. I know I have more time on my hands than I did when I was back over the United States working. Sometimes 6, 7 days a week. We all have our obligations, a family, at work, and it's tough. But one thing I've learned that if something is important to you, you'll make time to do it. And what I would recommend to anybody out there is just get off the sofa, get out of your house, go take a walk. If you have a dog, walk your dogs longer. Take he or her, your fur baby around the block a couple of times or to a local park. I've always enjoyed going to parks. They usually have like water fountains for the dogs, that sort of thing. Do you have time during the day? Can you take 30 minutes off of, a lunch break off of work, get outside, walk around? Is basically do something. The number one thing to being fit, a little more healthy, is just to get out there and do something. Um, the second part of this whole thing is the type of food that we're now eating. I tell you, over in America, you're up against the battle. There's certainly so much more processed foods over in the United States, and the temptations and the convenience are just it's mind numbing when you get over here and see it. I mean, it's not just your McDonald's and your Taco Bell and Burger King and your Chick-fil-A's, but it's all the other restaurants and convenience stops, stores, your Wawas, your 7-Elevens. There is just um, so much ability there, so much temptation, and it's plentiful. It's around you all the time, so it's very tempting. I know that I did not do. I see now I did not do a good job of disciplining myself to stay away from those type of things. Now, my wife has dietary restrictions. Even in the United States, we went to the grocery store, we shopped and cooked healthy. A lot of our meals, but when you're in a rush, you have a longer day at work than you expected. You have to run somewhere. You pull into a fast food restaurant, you go to a convenience store, you get this or that, and it really adds up. Over here in Southeast Asia, as I was joking with my son, I did never realize there was like 50 ways to eat chicken and rice, but there are, I think it's 50. There's more like 100. I tell you, you've got over here, you've got your grilled, you got your barbecue, you got your Korean, you got your kebabs. I've tried to eat, some of it's fried, granted, but you're eating healthier food. And I try to go for the less lean fat meat. You get your lamb, your chicken, your beef. It's just a leaner, high in protein. So I'm eating a lot more than that. And even though I eat it with rice or a noodle sometimes, I'm eating more vegetables. There's more offerings here at these hotels, at the different restaurants that we go to. It's better than eating, the Chick-fil-A combo meal, supersize. I've cut down on a bunch of sodas. I used to drink Dr. Pepper one or two a day almost, if not one day, then the next day. Just like caffeine, it felt like it was energy. It kept me going at work. So I needed that sugar rush or that caffeine. Those daggone sweet teas, as much as I missed them and loved them, I haven't had a sweet tea over here. I drink mostly water. Now they do, Asia's very famous for all their coffees and all their teas. You can get 50 different types of coffees and teas, and their hot ones, their cold ones. There's many offerings. Uh, but usually I'll just get a Thailand sweet tea, Thailand tea, a lemon tea. It's a little sweet, nowhere near the sugar content of what it is in the United States. And there's very limited sodas over here. You can get Coke, you can get Sprite, you can get ginger ale. Then there's a couple different, Malaysian or Thailand brands that you can get. But what you do see a lot over here is, either Coke Zero or Pepsi Zero. And so now I'll just drink a Pepsi Zero or Coke Zero occasionally, um, one every couple days. And with that, I'm drinking a lot of water. Um, but chicken wise, there are a lot of different types of foods you can get. As I mentioned before, you get your Hainanese that comes from South China, and with your different Thailand and Malaysian spices, there's just a lot of different types of way you can get that food. Ayam bakar is like a Thai or Indonesian, Malaysian, Singapore, Vietnam. There's a lot of ways you can get that beef. Like I mentioned to you before, the Korean style is just a healthier, different diet over here. Now, some of this food can be high. The biryani chicken can be very high. It's not the most healthy, can be high in fat or high in calories. But if you're cooking at home, there's some things that you can do. You can just get a different low fat oil with that, just different seasonings that make it much more healthier to eat than you would at a restaurant. Um, Portion control is another big way that I've helped reduce my weight. Again, not as disciplined in the United States. I always felt like whether it was stress or emotional eating, I ate a lot more in the United States than I eat here. And I tell you, maybe this is for another channel or another video, but you get so much more food here for the money. You can get a huge dinner for $6. I mean, it's just crazy how much food you can get. But it's very well known what they call takeaway. In the back in the United States, you'd say, "Hey, can you box this up?" Or you want to brown bag it to work the next day or something like that. But here it's called takeaway, and so they give you these nice takeaway boxes or containers. So you order your dinner, you take half of it home, and now you got a nice lunch or dinner the next day. So you're eating like two meals in one. Not only is it a great value, but you're getting two meals out of it. So my portion control has been a lot better over here. I'll snack on nuts or trail mix or different things like that, and instead of the whatever fast food item that you might get back in the United States. And being that we talked about being in the mall and being air conditioned, whether it's in the mall or a restaurant, eating over in Thailand, Southeast Asia, is a very social thing. So desserts are not a big thing over here in Thailand as well. I mean, yeah, you got your cakes and things you can get. A lot of times after a meal, people just order a coffee, hot or cold, or a tea, hot or cold, and they just sit around for like 30 minutes or longer, even after a meal, because you're inside, you're in air conditioning, and you just socialize with your friends and family, neighbors, or whoever you may be dining with. It's much more of a social event here. So that also helps as far as your food intake. And again, having food to take home in a takeaway box for the next day. Um, let's see here. I talked about the desserts, the ice cream, and if you're a family of mine or a friend of mine, you'd be floored to know how less or little ice cream I eat over here in Thailand. First of all, it's not a big thing. Um, you do have Baskin Robbins in many malls, and you will have a few like self-serve, not self-serve, but just places that serve, soft serve ice cream or ice cream cones or in a cup. They eat more cakes, and like I said, believe it or not, coffee and teas are like the dessert here. That's the social time. That's what you do after a meal. The other day, we were walking through the mall, and my son's like, "Hey, let's get an ice cream from Baskin Robbins." I said, I said, I'm good. And my son, his jaw just dropped to the floor. I've never been known to turn away ice cream, but once you start eating healthier and you start exercising, you're feeling more fit, you're feeling more healthy. It's easier to say no to the fattening snacks of ice cream. I just said, I'm good. I know I got my meal at dinner. You know, I'm, I know what I'm already going to eat and I can make it till then. And I don't need that ice cream. So that's something I truly would not have done back in the United States. Um, the next thing, and probably a big thing too, is even though I've never been a huge alcohol drinker, although I had my fun in college and my younger years, in the last 20 years, I've never been a big beer or liquor drinker. I used to have about maybe 2 or 3 beers a month. Now, for some of you, I don't know, maybe that is a lot, but that's just going out to have an occasional beer, watching a sporting event, or maybe after cutting the grass all day, or just relaxing at home after a long hard day's work, and you just want to have a cold one. But I used to drink about 2 or 3 beers a month, and now I'd say I'm having about one beer every 2 to 3 months. So I've kind of totally reversed that, and I've quite gone 2 to 3 months. I mean, I've gone 3 months without having a beer at all. So I'm really watching my alcohol content. That's fattening in and of itself. It doesn't, as an asthma sufferer, uh, the barley and wheat or whatever in beer doesn't do me any good to begin with. So I've cut that out from my diet. But I would say just in review, the biggest thing is I've cut out the sodas. We can all cut out the sodas, drink more water, uh, not eating the fast food, the ice cream, the Chick-fil-A sandwiches, going to McDonald's. Now you do, if you are so inclined, addicted, and you want to travel to Southeast Asia, they do have quite a few McDonald's over here. They do have some Burger Kings. They do have quite a few KFCs. But the KFC's, McDonald's, you will notice a different menu offering. Like here, you can get chicken and rice out of McDonald's, that sort of thing. But they're not as obviously as popular as they are back in the United States. But you don't have all the other fast food places. Here, you have more of your mom and pop, restaurants, food vendors, night markets, small, again, mom and pop shops around the stores, as well as, very nice restaurants all around all the neighborhoods that you visit and all the malls that you go to. But the sodas have been a big thing. The type of food that I eat and the portions that I eat, that's been a very important thing. Cutting out the alcohol has been a big deal for me. So food wise, that's what it's done. Second thing is again being active. If you're traveling to a new place, you're gonna walk more, you're gonna visit places, you're gonna do more things. If you can substitute 2 to 3 days a week of fitness along with that, it's going to go a long way. Uh, so here hopefully I'll have another video coming out where I've lost even more. I've gone from about 266 down to 235. My next goal is just to get in the 220 somewhere. If I can get there, then I'm thinking like, okay, 225. Now can I get under 220? I don't know that I'll ever hit 215, but I'm gonna have to raise my game up. Now I think I've come to a point where starting to stabilize. I could probably use a few more pounds, but unless I go to a more stricter diet or start increasing, my workouts and what I do, um, it's going to be maybe tough for me to achieve that. But you know what? It's I want to be healthy, so I'm going to give it my best shot. So what I recommend again to you is just do something. Coming up in the summer season, do you belong to a swimming pool? Go swimming, go for nice long walks, go for bike rides. If you can get to a gym, and can afford a membership at gym, and you can get there 3 days a week, do that. But if you don't have that in your budget and it's hard to get to a gym, I get it, I understand, I live that. Um, just get a bench and a couple free weights, and you'd be surprised what you can do at home. Um, those gadgety, all-in-one, all-purpose, machines that you can just, fold up and put away at home. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You might benefit from that, but I just recommend doing something. Just get a couple dumbbells. You can go online, watch YouTube videos. They'll take you through a cardio workout. And like I said, you can get quite a workout at home with just a bench and a few dumbbells. And hey, it's only your life, right? So I hope this video helps, and I hope I can do a follow-up video here in the next couple months to tell you I've lost even another 10 or more pounds. Well, if you like what you see here today, please click the like button. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you down the road. Thanks.